see you.
Just a second. Okay. What about my light?
Your light is nice. I don't know. I'm red from the light.
I think it is nice color. After paleness of everybody inside the house.
It's like a screen reflection. So I don't know.
Okay.
But I see. Yeah, we are. I think we can slowly start. It's 8 o'clock. At least in Copenhagen. So I don't know where are you watching from and what time is it for you, but a good time of the day. And welcome again. So it's also in a way it's an open lecture. Which is arranged for the students at DIS taking the course of Psychology of Time. And so today we have a guest lecturer also who is going to talk with us today, Ekaterina Zhuykova, and so she will present the method of timeline and how she works with it with adoptive parents in her practical work. And I would just also say a couple of words about Ekaterina. Ekaterina is originally from Moscow, and we studied together back at the Moscow State University Psychology Department, and that was quite some years ago. And Ekaterina currently is living in Greece, and so most of her work, also practical work, is done online. So also if somebody has questions in terms of how this is possible to do, so you can also feel free to write them in the chat, and we can also, after Ekaterina's presentation, we can also talk about this aspect as well. And I think for many practitioners, it's a big issue these days. But otherwise, Ekaterina, she's a research associate, and so she works at the Adolescent Psychology Laboratory at the Psychological Institute of Russian Academy of Education, and she's a clinical psychologist and a family systems therapist. And I think I will give the floor to Ekaterina now, and we can, if you have any questions arising throughout the presentation, so please write them in the chat, and then after we can go through them. Yes.
Okay, hello everyone. It is very nice for me to be here. Thank you for invitation, Anna. And I'm happy to join your group. And actually, psychology of time is not exactly my scientific field I'm working on, but I think that time psychology it is something everybody should know, and we're keeping it in mind all the time, especially when we're working with families, when we're working in family therapy, because of course the stories, the past has a great influence to our to present and to future. And when you're working with families, when you're trying to help families, especially the families who have a lot of difficult experience and events in the past, it is important to remember how this time perspective is governing these things from past, present, and future, and creating actually expectations from relationships and families, from parents, children relationships. So today, I hope I will be helpful for you, and I will share my experience of work with adoptive families, and we will speak about timeline technique, timeline method. It is quite famous, and there are a lot of versions of this method, but still I think that it is basic for family counseling, and you can use it easy, and I hope we will have enough practice to do after. today's lecture. So let's start from my presentation. How to say it better? Okay, so hope everything is. Just a second. Okay. Okay. Now should be okay for all of us. Well, we will speak, as I told before, about timeline technique in the study of expectations and motivation characteristics of parents raising adopted children. I will try to have a short theoretical part because if you will be interested in this topic, maybe we will. I can share. I can send you some articles or even books about psychology of adoption, and I'm sure that in the part of psychology of time you're quite experienced and know a lot of things. But the second part, this practical part, we're going to have today, actually has two parts, two parts inside one practical part. One is about using timeline technique. Of course, we're speaking about adoptive families, but you can use these knowledges, you can use this experience of these families to explore your decision making about and explore your expectations about future, and think a little bit what you can do for making your motivation and expectation more reflected and more flexible and helping in your future steps with this decision. And this second part of the practical part, as I know you're interested in some online working with clients, with families with children, and I will show you small platform and connected with the case we will discuss today. I will show you what we could do with this platform in working with this family. So hope that we will have a lot, but we will start now, and I hope it will be enough time and everything for us. So first of all, before discussing the timeline technique, I want to remind you that the subjective representation of time is very important for psychotherapy and for helping families and clients, because of course all our clients they have some specific way how they're organizing memory about events they had. And these events they had before, they have influence to their present and to their future. And it is not just events causing another events. Events are making together some kind of narratives, some kind of stories, which families and people are making about their lives, about themselves. And why it's happening, of course, because there are a lot of events in our life. There are plenty of events, and we cannot remember and put close to our personality, close to our identity, a lot of events. So usually we are choosing some events and making stories with them, and these stories they are having this going through time. So if you have a story of your life with past events that you're a very shy person. You can remember some events from your childhood, like during the sand playing. No, nobody was giving me to dig, and I was not asking for this. And later, when I was in school, I was very shy. I couldn't ask to go to toilet, and later I couldn't meet with the boys. I couldn't I could go to the dating. I was afraid a lot. So it was, when you're speaking like this, you're remembering a lot of events which are going together, and of course, this story is creating identity and way of understanding ourselves. And even if we're now in present, even if we're now uh, just just listening to the lection, we're remembering a little bit in other situations, like the example I gave for in other lections. So in our present, we are connecting past and future, and at the same moment we can think, well, next time I want to try to do this, next time I probably I will have this. So it is connected fields. And there are actually a lot of nice literature about this. It's like a blog, like Newton. I'm sure you can read if you're interested in. But the very easy example you can understand is like on this picture you can see now. If I had experience of nice evening on the beach with cycling with my best friend, I remember it is giving me calmness and feeling of love, and this feeling I remember very good. So when I'm coming again to the same situation, I'm having the same moment, feeling of now and feeling of past. And this is creating some expectations and dreams that I can have again cycling and some good feelings here. Of course, if you can understand your thoughts and your narratives and uh, things from where they're coming in your mind, it is very easy to cope with it, because you can tell to yourself, well, I will try to get the same similar feelings, but we don't know. It is another day. I don't have my friend now, and even I have my friend now near. Maybe we will not have this similar experience, and it will be something different. And if you can say this, you're open to any new experience, and your previous experience doesn't have pressing to you, and doesn't press you to have some expectations. You are remembering your experience, but you can make borders and separate it with what is happening now. And the interesting story with the adoptive families is that they also have a big experience. And sometimes this experience about children in need, about deprivation, about losing parents, about separating with parents, this is so hard experience, and so difficult events, that it is very difficult to think about them like this. And usually a lot of traumatic events, a lot of experience like this, it is difficult to reflect good. It's difficult to separate from new experience. So that's why if we had the more difficult experience, and we cannot think about it, and we cannot look at it with open eyes, it is sometimes sometimes we cannot we cannot catch this moment when these feelings from previous periods are having influence to our expectations. So, for example, adoptive parents very often they can have some ideas like, of course, all children want to be adopted. They're very sad in all orphanages, and they're searching for a family. As soon as they will come to the family, they will feel better. And if they, I can understand good from where exactly they took this experience, from where exactly they they have this feeling, why I want to help them, why I want to see their happiness, how it is connected with my story. If they can see it clear, then it is quite easy. They can separate this experience. If not, they are waiting. They are sure that this picture, like here you can see now, this picture will be the same. So they cannot make borders between inside picture and picture with what is going to be. They're sure that what they have in mind is going to be true. So of course it can be a big problem for parent-children relationships, because children who are coming from orphanages, from the places where they didn't have adult all the time near, and they have attachment problems, and they came through deprivation. They can have different difficult reactions, behavior problems, conduct disorders, emotional disorders, and at least they have some period of adaptation. So a lot of children, they first days they can feel good, but just in a month, even adoptive families, they're calling this honey month. First month everything is nice, but after this honey month, children start to create problems, and also parents start to feel difficult feelings, which is not connected with the love and tenderness sometimes. And if you don't have expectations that we're taking a child and we're becoming a happy family, and the child is becoming happy and everybody are happy, you're okay, because you know that everything can happen, and you know that there are a lot of situations and all the stories are different, and child can have any difficult story, but if you don't understand this, you can have again you, a parent and child, again they have some kind of trauma, because inside these relationships in your family, people can lose each other, lose contact, and as soon as it is connected with traumas from both sides, from parent sides and from child side, it can cause some problems. And in these moments, of course, families need help, and they're coming for family therapy. They're coming to take some consultations, and sometimes even some psychiatric support. And just to know about family therapy, some just basic things is that family therapists, they're working together with all members of the family, or if they have one member in their office. Anyway, they're keeping in mind all the family, because in family therapy, client is not person, client is a system, family system. So if we're working with family, we have a lot of information. Can you imagine if 5 people and with different stories, they start to tell different things which are important for them, how they remember the past, what was important, what was not. It is very nice experience when children are saying, I remember very good this, and parents are saying, I don't remember this, I don't know, I see this, or I just see it from other side. And a family therapist, you can just lost yourself inside all this information. And especially with adoptive families, the story is important. What parents had before, what losses, traumas, did they have children before, did they have lost pregnancies, and a lot of other things. And also child, what did he have before? If he knows his biological family, uh, if he had any traumas when he was in this period without the main adult near. So all these stories are big, and the idea is to use the timeline technique. It's one of the ideas, of course. It's not the only thing you can do, and it's not enough. But for our topic, it will be quite enough. The timeline technique is helping to organize information about life periods and event in family counseling. And it is quite easy. If you don't know, I will just tell you a few words. You're just drawing a long horizontal line, dividing it into equal time segments representing years, months, weeks, even days, depending on the therapist and family's preferences. And the family members indicate with the marks on this line the most important events of their life cycle. Like, I was born, my brother was born, I met my wife. It actually no limit to the kinds of events that can be highlighted. And for me, it is quite important to give opportunity to the family to put what events they would like. And this technique, it is famous from Stanton, and he was making some researches with this technique, and also he was trying to use this timeline technique for searching for the answer to the question, why now? Why now? Why now family has problem? Why now they're looking for psychotherapy? Or in our case, why now they want to adopt child? Why now? And when you're looking at this timeline, it is like a picture, small picture of whole life of the family. And maybe it's something like when you're looking from the space to the earth down, so you can see everything, but in small pieces. But maybe the most important things you will see, and it can include a lot of information: births, deaths, engagement, marriages, separations, just everything. Even meetings or small events like conversations with someone. A lot of families even can put even this small events. And then we're analyzing together with the family what events are related, what events are close in time, what precede the appearance of the problem or changes. Why is this happening now? We can look with the family and answer. And Stanton has a lot of cases in his articles with understanding families when they were moving inside family therapy, and realizing what was the way until the problem, what was the way until the decision, what was the way until the family therapist. And understanding this way is giving, of course, to us ideas about changes, because if we know how things are growing, we know how to help them. If you know how growing the plant, what does it like, sun or shadow, so you can help this plant. So the same as any life system, a family system also. If we know how it's working, what's causing problems, what is causing stress, we can try to find out how to help them. And another idea, just there are a lot of different timelines. Sorry, a lot of different timelines, versions of timelines. But I want to show you just one of their for me is most interesting ways to use timeline when we're connecting together structural changes of the family and timeline. If you can see this picture, down is timeline, and this is the case from the Stanton research, and you see that down is timeline with years of marriages, from zero wedding, second first child born, 4 years second child born, and so on. And up you can see the structure of family, how it was changing through this time period. So first you can see from the left side, Peter and Sally, they're having good connection together. These two lines which are connecting them, and then we can see that from the first after the first birth, they are having. Peter has the same strong connection with his first child, Tina, and with Sally still. And Sally starting to have a bigger connection with Tina as mother. Maybe she's spending more time with her. Maybe they're more close together. Maybe Peter is walking and Sally and Tina at home. We don't know exactly, but where we can see that structure is changing a little bit. Then we can see the second birth of the second child, and we see that first everybody have a strong connection with each other from the first moment. It's very normal because when a child is just born, it is easy to be in contact, everybody together, and then we can see that. After some years, family starts to have problems. Peter's becoming depressed. They're having conflicts with Sally, and now you can see another type of line, this jagged line between Peter and Sally. It's about their conflict, and now we can see that Sally is closer more to Josh and quite close to Tina. And Peter, he's not close at all with his son, and he's in a distance. This dotted line between Peter and Josh, it is about distant relationships. So when you have this line of life, it's like you're having quick view on the all life changes of family. And for example, here you can see changes of structure, and you can start asking from the what moment did it start? When did first time did you feel that you're on distance from your son? When the first time you lost your connection, Peter and Sally? What happened? So we know for sure that it was somewhere between 5 and 8 years, somewhere in this period, and we can ask about it more, and trying to give to this family opportunity to cope with the problems which were appearing that time. And what we have also the specific version of timeline we're using with adoptive families, because we need to explore specific events and specific find answers to specific questions. So here there are these questions where we're searching for. First of all, what types of life event do the parents relate to their decisions of adopting child? Because, as we will see later, events can be different, and what stories are connected with adopting a child is giving us the idea how the story will go on later. So what qualities of those events are important? Next is how those events are linked by causal, similarity, semantic, and etc. Why the family decide to take the child at a particular moment of the family history. We're trying to understand what is before, why this idea came exactly at this time, what is causing this motivation. And the next questions, of course, they are related to our future work, to psychotherapy, to helping these families, is what hypotheses and tasks for psychotherapeutic work can be formulated on the grounds of examining the patterns of life events and how they reveal the important characteristics of parental motivations and expectations. Because, of course, we are all researchers and we're trying to have any ideas about the psychology of adoptive families or different families or different fields. But also, as soon as I'm a psychotherapist, I'm thinking all the time what we can do. It's not enough for me just to know that this is happening. Even it's not enough for me to know why it's happening. All the time, I'm trying to find the idea how I can use this information for helping family to connect researching and practice, researching and helping people. And this is very important for psychology because we're working with people. All what we're doing should be practical some way. So what is the additional instruction in our version? Where after they are making this timeline, after they made this line with the events, important events, we're saying to these parents, please look at the events that are marked and please single out those of them that in your view had an impact on your decision to take care of the adoptive child. You can indicate some new events if needed. So they, after they made already this timeline, after they talked a little bit about these events, we asked for details, and we listened to some stories from this moment. After we have ready this timeline, we're asking to circle the events which are related with this decision to adopt child. And this is the events which were selected by the study of adoptive parents. We had a small research with 19 families, and that was interesting that they had very similar events which were they selected. Some of them had few, some of them had one event, and we will speak about this later, what does it mean. But actually, all events were just in these groups you will see on this slide and next. So first group, there were events which were connected with experience related to loss. So first of all, it was deaths, interruptions of pregnancy, separations from biological children, and etc. So a lot of events were about related to loss. Next group of events was about experience of stressful nature. Divorce, illnesses, including mental disorders such as depression, abuse, emergency situations, being close to death, financial difficulties, just a lot of events, but they were all about stress. So first was experience about losses, second was experience about stress, and third was parents' own deprivation experience in childhood. Not, of course, all of them were raised without parents. Of course not. Most of them were with their parents in childhood, but some of them were having problems with emotional contact with their mothers, and divorced parents, and or they were raised with the grandmothers, grandfathers, or even in a specific closed school for some years. So anyway, this third group of events was about the experience parents had before, which they are putting on the same step with the deprivation experience what child could have, a child they're going to adopt. So they were saying, I can understand him because I had similar experience. And it was let's say it's negative events, some events which had, which were connected with negative emotions, and also there are three other groups of events: attempts to form close relationships. So some of the parents, they were saying a lot about events which were giving them a contact with someone, like with meeting with partner, developing close relationships. Like, I didn't have good relationships, but I developed good relationships with my partner. We started to have very close relationships. So it was important point for me in this decision to adopt child. Another group is events opening the new opportunities, like uh, we got enough money, we finished university, we raised our children, we built a house. So something which is giving opportunity to help others. And the third, the sixth group is the situations where these parents were meeting with the children who had deprivation experience. So they were meeting people who had this deprivation experience, like meeting with children in orphanages, volunteering, getting information about children in need in mass media or social networks. So it was events like I was sitting at home, I was watching TV, and at that moment they showed one child who, the story of one child who was raising without parents, and it touched me so much that I remember this very good, and it was the important event. It was one of the events which gave me the idea of their of this decision. And just I will not stay here for a long time. Just have a quick look on this table, because from here it's, we don't have a lot of it's not big number of the cases to be sure, but we can see that it's not big, huge differences about this group. But first three groups are stressful situations, events related to loss, and opening new opportunities. It's quite high rank, as you can see. But of course, should be more researches about this to know for sure. But this all groups, they are important in my opinion, even if some of them more or some less, but all of them are important for adoptive families. And for me, it is important to tell you that we tried. I will not stay here a lot, but we tried to find out if there is any connection between these events connected with decisions um, and having problems in relationships between parents and children. So we found out that no, even if parents had quite stressful experience with a lot of losses, losing children, and deprivation in their childhood, it doesn't mean that they will have problems with the relationships and with adoptive child, and have difficult expectations. No, it is connected with other things. We will speak later, and maybe it will be easier to use to do it with discussing the case. This is the Yelena's case. It is her timeline. Um, and she's 45 years old, and she's adoptive parent of several children. And Nastya, she's 9 years old. She was coming for consultations together with her parents because she was having problems with behavior, sexual behavior, conducting disorder, emotional problems, and psychiatrists, they told that there are a lot of problems between parents and children because they don't have enough contact, and that's why it is difficult to help this girl Nastya because parents cannot have this good contact and understanding what is happening with Nastya, and they asked for family therapy for them, and we started this therapy inside a mental clinic for children. During Nastya was staying inside, and one part of work which helped us a lot was this timeline. So as you see, first we made this classic timeline, even without changing structure, without genogram, without nothing, just events which Yelena felt are important for her. She told us her story of life, and the story was that the first years of life she was together with her mother, but then her mother started to have problems with the walk and even with the alcohol, and she moved to her grandfather and his wife. And at 7 years old, she was staying still with them, and she was starting to go to school. She got some friends, but had conflicts with them and didn't have a lot of good relations. It was just, they friends, not long friendship. And then when she was 10 years old, her grandfather died. And actually, there was nobody who loved me anymore, she said. And she moved back to her mother. And her stepfather suffered from alcoholism, and she lived very quickly. She moved to close boarding school, and in Russia it is not the same boarding school like in England, for example. It is not normal. It is more like orphanages. So children don't have good contact with their families. They cannot return usually to their family's house. So they're staying all the time, like inside school, and changing adults all the time. So when she was in this place, also she was visiting orphanage to play with the children, small children. In Russia, we have separated institutions for small children until 3 years. It is baby place, and after it's for bigger children. So they had this practice in Soviet times when bigger children were coming to see small children, maybe to help and play with them a little bit. And 15 years old, she became closer with her father, who was separately at this time from her mother. And when she was 15 and a half, she met her husband, her future husband. And 16 years old, she got pregnant and she lost a child. And after she started to study, and she was working in some summer camp. And 18 years old, she met and fostered girl while working there. And she was saying that she felt pity for her, and she realized first time that she would like to adopt child in future. And then it was period of some movings. She's not putting marriage on this line, but probably it's because in the moment of the consultation they had again conflicts with with her husband. But she's putting a lot of events about moving to Tver region. It's outside, like 300 kilometers from Moscow away. Then moved to Moscow, and then when she was 32 years old, her husband cheated her and had relationships with another woman. And it was a quite big stress and trauma for her. And from this moment, she's starting to prepare herself for adoption. And for 33 years old, she's taking her first adopted child. And 35, she's adopting Nastya. And as you see, we're asking her to circle what exactly events were connected with decision to have adoptive children. And as you see, she chose the losing her grandfather and living in this boarding school, visiting small children without parents, a lost child, and meeting with this fostered girl. And as you can see, all these events, they spread more than during 20 years period. So there, for sure, we know that her motivation has a story. She doesn't want. She wants to have a child for a long time, and it was not kind of impulsive decision. Like I didn't have this in mind, but then I saw a story on TV and then decided to do it. No, she had a long story as this decision, and a lot of expectations about this decision is coming usually when the story is long. And as you can see, the decision to take the first child was made following in the crisis of the family after her husband's cheating. And especially this moment, as she was saying, she was feeling loneliness, abandonment, and exactly inside these feelings, she created the idea to take the child. As you can see, she feels loneliness, but she cannot understand this. She cannot cope with this. She's having something like projections to the child, and trying to find the child who's feeling the same, for whom she can help, not to herself, to another child, to another person who's with this feeling of loneliness. And this may cause some of rigidity of motivation, so no flexibility, and inability to revise the plans and intentions, and this transferring her needs to the child is so important for her, that she feels in this moment that I must do it. I just must do it. I have to go and adopt the child because her feelings are so strong that, but she cannot understand that it's her feelings, that she's just transferring, putting it inside the another person and trying to cope with these feelings inside another person, say child. And you know what? When we were speaking with her, when she was in clinic, her daughter Nastya, she had a lot of problems actually. She needed not just coping with loneliness. She needed to have some families of rules, understanding her needs, understanding her story, because she had the very specific stories. But Yelena was totally inside her idea that the only thing children need is not to be lonely. So this is what I'm doing for everyone. But Nastya, she had another needs. She had another things to do. And again, when Nastya was in clinic, it was difficult situation for family because Yelena's husband was again a little bit on distance from the family. He said that he started from family and went somewhere away. And when I was asking Yelena what she's going to do, what is now important for her, what maybe support and help does she need, she was saying, well, you know what? I'm going to adopt a new child. I'm sure it will be important for me now. So again, the moment in the moment where when she's lost, she's trying to find a person whom to help, and of course, there are a lot of good things also in this family. In this case, good. Sorry that I'm saying good or bad. Actually, it is not good or bad. It's just something which is helping, something is not helping. It is just for understanding clear and not going deep inside the terms. So. There are you can see that here we see three groups of events. We have stressful events. We have her own deprivation experience, and she has events with the connecting with the people who had deprivation experience with these children and with this foster girl she met. So we can see that her story is quite rich. It is not one case of one event or one group of events, because we know this with other families when it was just one event or one type of events, just we are boring to have our business and having a lot of money anymore. We just built a big house, so now we want to adopt a child. So it is quite poor description, quite poor story which is coming to this decision. It's not so rich. Yelena's case is opposite. She has a long story, and for sure to be adoptive parent is very important for her. She will not she will not just stop it. She will try to do all her best. Another good thing is that she's quite reflective, because she's telling a lot. She's telling a lot of details about these events, about these stories. She can have this connection and saying, this I know why I want this, I remember this, and this is important for me. So it's not, I don't know why I want the adoptive child just because I don't have child. And she has a lot of thinking, thoughts about this. So it is good for psychotherapy. You can help her to make new lines and new connections between events. But the problem, as I told you, first of all, is this no flexibility in this motivation. Yes, nothing, no contact with reality. Doesn't matter what is happening. I wanted to adopt. So this was the point. This was the task for family therapy to help her. And so maybe first to understand how we're creating hypotheses from this timeline timeline technique. I will tell you that we're usually thinking about 4 types of hypotheses when we're looking in timeline. First, we're thinking if there is stability or inconstancy. So if idea to have a child is quite has a long story, or it's some came from some impulsivity. And another idea what we're thinking, another question we're thinking about is flexibility or rigidity. This with which we had in Yelena case. And third is about richness. If it is different different sources of motivations, or it's positive. So if there are a lot of different reasons why different events, why we want to make this decision, because why it is important, because if you have only one reason to adopt a child, it's very um, big responsibility for this decision, and this big responsibility for this child. For example, if all events are connected with the coping with the feeling of grief, of losses, and you want to take you want to take child to family to cope with these feelings, and all the timeline is about these events, only these events are marked. It is big responsibility, because if in some periods of life during adaptation, child will not give this feeling of coping with grief, expectations just you will not have what you want, and families will face with feelings that we made a bad, not correct decision. So if they have different events, different ideas, like yes, I have some losses in my life, but at the same moment I have opportunities. Now I have a lot of parent skills after my biological children raising. Also, I now have big house, and also I know what it is about deprivation. I met some children. It is even if you will not. If you will not feed one of this characteristic of motivation, it's okay, because you have others. And the fourth group of ideas we're thinking during psychotherapy is about reflexivity in the decision making, because if parents cannot, for example, circle the events at all, or they cannot tell, they don't have a lot of events which they're putting in timeline, it's like they cannot understand about their story, what is connecting with this decision, and they can have problems the way I was telling you in first moments of our talk. So now we're going to our practical part. And I hope that after this practical part, things which were not clear will become better. And what I suggest to you is to try to study your expectations about any life changes. And I suggest you to make your own timeline and use your timeline in our version from adoptive parents researching. But you will explore not the decision about taking child, because I don't know if you're going to adopt child or not. So you will choose another event, another decision, and you will search for events which is connected with this. So if you're listening us later, and you can put a pause, so you can do this exercise just step by step together, or if you're online now, you can just imagine how you can do it, and after, when you will have enough time, and calm situation around you, you will be able to do it for about your own timeline. And also, even if you will just make timeline, even without even this first part, it will be important for you, because even if you will look at your life life events, what was when, what is near, what is maybe connected with each other, it can be good small psychological work for yourself, and all psychologists need this for sure. So first step, draw a line mark the present moment and the point where you made an important decision. Uh, don't take the most important decision in your life, but please don't take small decision like if to go to buy some bread or not. Of course, during quarantine, it can be important decision, but better to take something which is related with other events on timeline. So imagine that in some years, if you could put this decision on timeline, if yes, you can take it. If it is something small you will not remember after, it will not be so important. Better not to explore it. It will not work. So second thing you're doing is mark the events on the line, starting from the birth that are important to you and have an impact on your future life as you think. It can be, as I told before, big or small events, but please put everything you think is important for you, for your identity, for life period you have now. Don't just take your time. Don't do it quickly. Maybe sometimes you need to take another paper and start again. Just try to write all the events shortly, not all the details, because you will not have enough time, space in your paper. But it will be very nice if you will try to tell someone you trust about these events, moving from earlier events to later ones. So you can put these events, but you will remember them better if you will tell the same moment to your partner or to your family members, anybody it's or friends. You will feel better your timeline. You will connect with your story better if you will tell to someone some stories which you are putting to the timeline. Next, try when you will finish. Try to look at your life as a whole, like it's like you're watching from the space. And try to see the connections of events and their flows if it is a river. Like not just event. It's like life, life river. We're saying this, and it would be very nice if these events and describing of these events will be connected not exactly only with you, but also with your family. We're saying that we are trying to explore in family therapy something which is between the chairs, not mother, not father, not child, but something which is between them. So don't write only like I was angry. Try to write something like we had conflicts between me and parents, because it will be something between chairs, and then you will see like these events are changing, and it looks like growing life, something like this, or like river. What metaphor is closer to you? So then highlight, circle, or add if necessary. Maybe you will not find on your timeline these events. It's okay. Just write more events that are related to an important decisions that you want to explore. Decision that you want to explore. So look again to your timeline and think what events are connected with your decision, and circle it. If you in this moment you would like to add something, add, put more events. Just make them visible. Maybe use another pen, another color, just to be sure that you can separate these events from others. And take these four ideas we are discussing before. I will return again to them to remind you, to analyze a lifeline from this four hypotheses. What is them? First of all, think about stability. If the events are having the story. If this idea, this decision has quite long story. If it is was not just came yesterday, oh, I will go to the Europe, to USA, to Australia, or something like this. It has a story you had in mind, you remember some experience. So, about stability. Another idea is flexibility. Try to understand if this decision can be stronger or not so strong. When check how it is changing during the different events. Try to understand how flexible it is. If it is how you can see that sometimes you want it more, sometimes you want it less. Or, for example, after weekend on island, I don't want to go anymore to Australia for some time. So it is something which is connected with the other events of life and depends from it. The third idea is to check about this richness. If it is different ideas, different needs behind this decision. If it is connected with your different needs, not only because I want to see kangaroo, for example, and this is the only idea I want to go to Australia. Because if you will not see it, I don't know, it can happen. You will have problems with expectations and decision making. And of course, about awareness, about reflexivity, how you can remember better the stories, how you can better, how you can understand these connections. Try to think if you can see these connections or not. So after you put yourself through these ideas, try to tell to yourself what can be done to make your solution, your decision more stable, more flexible, related to different needs and reflective. So you're not only exploring your expectations, you are not only trying to understand what is behind this decision. You are trying to walk with this decision some way. So ask yourself, if I can do to make it more stable, what I can do to make it more flexible, what I can do to connect it with more needs, how I can make it more reflective. And after, how can I revise? How can you revise your life narratives to make this possible? So try to think maybe not only about future, also about past, because sometimes you can find another needs in your past connected with this decision, or you can remember some events better, or you can ask, for example, your mother, tell me please what I was thinking about traveling when I was child. Was I dreaming about Australia? Can you remind me this? Or did we go to some zoo when I met kangaroo or something like this? Just to make this events visible. So if you don't have enough events to make this decision stable, just try to find these events in past, because we have everything in our past. Just most of the things we don't remember. If you need to find something, you can do it in future, in past and future, of course, also. And the last part of the last practical part is about role playing game for the online psychotherapy. I will just show you a little bit how you can work from this, and then we can discuss some questions if you have any. But for showing you this platform, I need some time for returning first and start demonstrating another. a bit. We have to wait. Maybe you can think about some questions meanwhile. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just a second.
Ekaterina, you might need to kind of stop sharing this particular screen and then choose another one if it's in
Yes, I'm trying to do it, but I cannot understand why. Now maybe.
Yes.
You can see something, yes? Can you see the space with the camera in the middle?
Yes.
Yes, great. So this is a educational platform which is usually they're using it for schools for distance education, mostly in American schools, as I know, not in Russian. And this platform is helping for the psychologist or teacher to be together in the same space with the child or with the family and to build pictures together. So I will show you shortly how you can do it. So first you can make some surrounding. Maybe we need some green colors now still because we're waiting for real spring. And we can put some figures on the stage. For example, child. For example, his mother. And together, psychologist and child and family, they can change things here. They can change colors of clothes, of hair, of skin, everything. Then child or family, they can feel more closer to these figures. Actually, there are a lot of different figures you can use in your play therapy. If you're using play therapy in your work, there are a lot of animals, as you can see down, and there are some stuff for house. There are some nature objects you can put also. Let's put a tree. Transport, for example, bicycle. And all these figures, they can move on the place, but it is giving good opportunities for psychotherapy because we can create situations, for example, from the past when for giving opportunity to family to see these events, not just speaking about them. For children, it is especially important, and for it's important for events we don't remember good. And what we can do here? Actually, two ideas we can use in our case. First is alternative experience. For example, for this Yelena, case of Yelena I was speaking today, we know that she has a lot of events connected with loneliness and deprivation, and she didn't have enough connection with her feelings, and she was all the time running from these feelings to help others. And for example, we can ask her to remember a moment when she had something, some good feelings with her mother, for example. And she can say, for example, I don't remember exactly, but once it was summer in a country house, and I fall down from the bicycle, and my mother was helping me. And I'm saying, okay, let's try to see it. Let's try to return to your feelings, because returning to feelings can help to help Yelena to understand more about her feelings, not jumping all the time inside feelings of other person. So uh, I can put some postures or postures or actions maybe for both figures. Oh, this hug is very nice. It will be nice for us. Okay, figure. Okay, so I made some sad emotions on the face of a girl, and I made hug posture for the mother, and now I can show to the client this. You see, girl is crying, and mother is hugging her, and I can tell to the client, please look at this situation. What can you see here? And she can say, I see the child who is in pain, who feels not good, because first she was afraid that her mother will be angry, that she fall down. But her mother is hugging her and saying, everything is okay, you're my girl, I love you so much. And inside this online platform, you can help clients to be inside some moments in past. And this is the first idea you can use, and also you can change some things. For example, you can ask clients, please return to this moment. Remember this moment. You was crying, and your mother was saying you just have to write better next time. Uh, just return to this moment and ask and tell your mother, it's okay, okay, it's okay, mommy, just hug me, I need your support. And if you can ask like psychodrama way to do it for Yelena, it would be a nice intervention, and she will be connected with her emotions better. Actually, with Elena, we were working offline. It was live consultations, and we were making the same similar exercises. And after that, she was saying, I realized that I need to care myself first. And for me, it was quite a big step for her when she said, when I'm watching this girl, she said, when I'm remembering this girl who needs some hug, I understand that I need some care about myself. Of course, it's a big step for her, and she said, "Yes, I have to wait with the to adopt next child because I need someone who can care me first, and at least myself." And and another idea you can do is just to create events from timeline which client cannot remember but he wished to have. For example, um, if she was helping a lot to different children in orphanages, for example, we can ask her if it is possible that when you was in this boarding school, if it is possible that someone liked you, someone wanted to help you. Uh, she can say, "I don't remember exactly. I don't know for sure." Uh, but probably yes, because somebody cared me. I was alive. I was alive. I was with food, and probably somebody cared me good. And I can suggest try to build situation. Then somebody is carrying you, and she can say, well, maybe they took me to the fetter, for example, and we can create. We can create the picture when Yelena is near with she's with her friends or with the teachers and having good time in theater, and she's not carrying someone, but someone is carrying her. And after this, I was asking Liliana, can you maybe try to find some pictures, or maybe to contact with your classmates to remember some things like this, to search new information about the past. So actually, this platform is good for a lot of kind of work with children and family. It is just a brief look. Maybe if you are interested, you can try to use it also for yourself or for playing. Well, I will stop demonstration now and return to you. Um, so, do you have any questions? Do you have any ideas to share with us? Ah, I see familiar people. Nice to see you.
Yes. Yes, Ekaterina, thank you so much. It was a very interesting presentation. And yeah, we see a couple of people. I see at least one of my students here. Hi, Darby. So, if you have a question, so please come forward. Yeah, I don't see much questions in the chat, and we are not a very big group, so we can also ask our questions just with a voice, I think. So if you have any comments, suggestions, and so you're more than welcome.
Anna, do you have any questions?
It's like, for me, it was very interesting to hear also from the variety of perspectives, actually, because what was I was noting down like a lot of things for myself, actually.
Oh, great.
I really liked how you said that like motivation has a story. And I
Yeah.
think this is very interesting also, the way this kind of like the method of timeline can unwind that story
Yeah.
and also bring forward some of those events that maybe like a person has it kind of like in the background and not really thinking about it, but kind of bring it forward and actually make this story for themselves also visible.
Yeah.
So it's also very interesting in light that I'm currently also studying this existential analysis with Alfred Langley, and so that is also something that we are discussing in this particular part of our education. In terms of, there are actually two different topics here. Is that also why do we decide to help? And so this particular case was kind of like very interesting, like what is actually motivating her, this Yelena, in terms of like why she's going and adopting one child, why she's going adopting another child. And so kind of, and then realizing, okay, what is going on in the background, and maybe it's not adopting yet another child in this particular moment of her life. And then another thing was that also like the timeline itself, that is also something like a visualizing a way of like a different milestones that people have in their lives in terms of like arriving at the time where they are now. And I
Yeah.
think it was also like a very interesting question in terms of why now.
By
Like
now.
when people like decide to do something, why now? Why not 5 years ago? Or why not in some kind of hypothetical future? But why exactly now? So what happened? What else kind of like brought it into like a really, okay, now I really need to do it now kind of thing. This is like very interesting. And kind of what we like in my research, and we study this time perspective, and we have this concept of the balanced time perspective. And it's very interesting in terms of how like you work is very similar also in terms of we if the person wants to build up this balanced time perspective profile, they also have to be very consistent in their
Yeah.
story in terms of what was happening in the past, what is it that I'm doing now, and where am I going in the future. So it's kind of, it's very interesting also like to see this these interconnections. and things like this. But it was very inspiring. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your interest. Also, maybe after your comments, I'm thinking maybe it will be interesting for your students to explore about their decision to be psychologists.
Not all of the students are actually going to like take psychology as the profession, but
okay. But okay, that profession they are
they
taking,
can
yes,
explore the professional choice they're making.
yes,
Because
professional
I know
choice,
that in
yeah,
our group, for example, like we have people who want to become a dentist or who want to become a doctor, or I mean, there are of course some people who want to become a psychologist, but it could be also. I think that could be maybe the topic, what how they can make the timeline in terms of what
okay,
brought them to the decision in terms of taking this particular educational path.
yes, can be interesting, yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments, reflections?
Hello, hello, girls.
Hello,
I'm
Sima.
very glad to hear you and to see you. and sorry for my English because I'm not ready to talk a lot about our topic, but it for me it's amazing image of river of these memories and how we can see event, or we can see the flow, and so
Yeah.
this is very interesting and amazing for me. And secondly, it is a very interesting program for psychotherapy online, because I'm really I don't like online therapy, and now
Yes.
we need to do it like this. And so I didn't know that. You will present this program now, and this is like present for me.
Yes. I had in mind, yes, just to show this idea to everyone, because we are tied now with this situation, and it is nice to share some ideas. But
Thank you very
I,
much.
yeah, maybe I hope that I will show more for other psychologists. Thank you.
This idea about video, that not only we can feel this landscape, but we can do like video and like more vivo, yeah.
Yes. Actually, this platform, it has
Mm-hmm.
also virtual reality. So if you have proper stuff and these glasses and everything for virtual
Ah,
reality, child or family,
like
yes,
be something. I don't
yes, you can be inside these pictures really.
know.
And have this experience. Of course, it's still animation, but for some children, for small children, it's interesting because they're trying. They're saying, "I want to run inside this forest."
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Yes, okay, you can try it." And even without without virtual reality, they're doing it even just running with this figure. I
Mm-hmm.
will run around, and for them, it is part of psychotherapeutic work can be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very nice. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments and the interest. It's very nice to hear all of you.
That's Alan is saying that he's not very well at the moment, so he's just listening and very much enjoying the talk, and also excellent work and very helpful. And so also he's looking forward to the slides or complete recording to review again, as so that he's not really following right now. So, but I think we will of course post the video, so the video will be available, and we can see I think how we can also share, and that the slides are part of the video, and those who are in the class, I think you will also get the slides as an attachment. Yes. Perfect. Anyways, thank you very much. I don't know if the Russian group wants to chat a little bit after we finish the class. If you
Can be.
have a bit of time. All right, but thank you so much, Ekaterina. And again, it was very nice to see everybody, and good to see you, Darby. so, so have a great day, and I'll write more in terms of how we are going to do with this class. And also next week we are having another topic, so it's going to be about time and cultures. And we also have some very interesting people joining us during the talk. It's actually also, again, our colleague and our former classmate from Moscow, Evgeny Osin. And
Wow.
then
You're lucky for
come
sure.
and listen. And we also have James Jones. So he's originally from Trinidad, and so he will be joining us now. He's like a professor emeritus, and so yeah, because we had this opportunity and he's free, so we thought it's gonna be such a nice discussion. So until next time, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Bye. Thank you, Anna.
Bye.
Thank you, Ekaterina.
Yes, bye bye.
Bye.